Hey y'all, this is Sophie from Lovely Funeral, and today we're covering advanced options for your Lovely Funeral template. So first, I would start by, if you're having trouble downloading your files or with software or opening them in any way, I would start with the downloading and opening video. And then if you're just looking for basic editing stuff, go back to the basic tutorial for either Microsoft Word or Pages, whatever you're using. This particular video is advanced options for Microsoft Word, and we're going to be covering changing the document size, changing colors a little bit, major layout changes, adding pages, and adding full bleeds for a professional printer. You can click Show More below to jump to whatever portion of this video you're looking for, or you can also, there will be a link down there to download the template that I'm using in this video so that you can follow along. Alright, so first things first, you download the file, you double click the zip file, and you make sure that you're opening the correct file, which is today Microsoft Word, MS Word. Right click, open with Microsoft Word, make sure you're opening in the correct document. And here you go. So let's just start by adding our image in here because likely you've already been through the basic video. So I'll just really quick add picture. There we go. Picture format, crop, fill. All right, got that. So let's just say that this is everything, and let's say I live in Australia, I wish, and I needed the A4 size instead of the American 8.5 by 11. So in that case, you just go to Layout, Size, and then click A4. And then as you can see, it automatically makes everything the correct size. And the only thing you've got to, so I click the background and I hover over till I get that diagonal arrow. Make it big enough, and then just kind of adjust it. And then there's sort of a new center, so make sure you kind of know. I like to sort of use that image as a guide, so as you can see the square is at the center, so that's kind of a good guide. That's where the center is. Then I've got to, if you click down shift when you're selecting things, select them all at the same time, and just make sure everything's looking about right. Another pro tip is you can click shift, click, align, and then like align center and make sure that everything's centered. So you do that for everything, and then you're good to go. You're then at the A4 or A5 or whatever size that you want to be at. Most of the time it's A4. So I'm going to go back to the American size here. And the next thing I said I would talk about is changing colors. So this is very limited. I probably shouldn't have even put it in here. I thought it was actually a little better than it is. So you click in there, picture format is what you want. And then you can click these artistic effects. Color is what you would want. Artistic effects is like really over the top and I would really not recommend it, but you can click like sketch and then it'll like change it to this weird effect. Usually doesn't look that good, but hey, this is your template, you can do what you want. Then you've got color tone, so it gets like the super bright or, gosh, I click another one, really warm, and it even changes the background color. You can click down to picture color options, and then you can make it more saturated, less saturated. You can make it a little bit warmer, a little bit brighter. You can reset so that it goes back to everything. There's presets. You can make it like black and white or like just some random stuff you can do if you're looking to do that kind of stuff. Also there's picture corrections. So you can click this image and then like make it a little bit sharper make it a little brighter or a little less bright, depending on your photo, and just kind of make it look a little bit nicer if you want. And then you could do the same thing. Technically, maybe you want it to be a little more Western looking. You can change all that stuff in here, which is kind of cool. Just use it with restraint, otherwise it gets really, really over the top. So I'm going to reset everything to the way that it was. And next, major layout changes. Okay, so every once in a while somebody wants, like, they just want it to be basically this, and then on the back they want like the memorial service or a poem, and that's all they want. So in that case, I would do this. I would just delete this, and then I would copy, paste, nope. I guess that's not how you do it. I mean, really, ultimately, you're just copying and pasting, but for some reason, this is the problem with Word, guys. It's not super consistent with everything all the time. So just format it like this. I would format it first. Copy, paste. Yeah, see, this is getting all messed up. So if you look at this, click the styles pane. This will help a little bit. So if you click this, you see that this normal centered is highlighted. So if you click this, click normal centered. Then you click at this and you say, okay, title centered is highlighted. So click this, titled centered. So in an ideal world, Microsoft Word would just, copy and paste it exactly how it is, but for whatever reason, it doesn't do that all the time. So that's a good way to do it. So in this case, it wouldn't be exactly the same for each person. Like if you look at this and you cut it in half, like this one looks slightly different than this one, and maybe that isn't ideal. Like this side looks slightly different. So half the people would have this version where this is the front and this is the back, front, back, and the other half would have this version. I don't think that's the end of the world for anything. I'm also creating double-sided of one, like I'm creating templates just like this that you can also purchase, but I'm not all the way caught up, and sometimes people want the option to do both. So if I don't already supply that and you really need to get this done quickly and you can't wait a few days for me to create one, you can do it. It's just it's slightly different for both sides, and I don't think that's the end of the world. So let's just undo everything. This stuff is a little bit more finicky because it just is the nature of Word and these word processors. They're not like Photoshop or Illustrator where it's really easy. So another thing people want to do is they want to have like an 8-page layout. So in that case, I would insert, insert blank page, insert blank page. So now we've got front and a back, front and a back. So the first thing that I do normally is I take 2 pieces of paper in real life and I fold them together and I number each of the pages so I know which way this, like which pages are which. So I skipped over that. So in order to copy and paste, you click up here until it turns into a cursor. Then you highlight this whole thing, Command C or Control C, click this page, make sure the cursor is going, and paste. Oh no, it didn't work. Or you can just select each of these individually, click down Shift when you're selecting all of them, copy, paste. So it takes a little bit of formatting, like I said. So this was normal centered, this was title centered, this was normal centered, and this was heading 1 centered. So how you do that is you just click this. So it's definitely finicky, guys. I'm not saying that it isn't, but it is possible. So the last time I got this to all copy and paste exactly how I wanted it to. So it's a little bit odd to me that it's not working. I suppose because the cameras are live. See, now that time it worked. So maybe the key is, instead of with a cursor, you want it to be this arrow. And you highlight everything. Copy. And then for this I would do, personally this is what I would do. I would do keep it front and back. Do this normal centered, do this heading 1 centered, and then do the same thing over here. Or if you wanted an image gallery or something, you know, you would add the shapes just like I showed you in the last tutorial, which you can go back and you want to make sure you don't have any outlines. But other than that, you can just make a little gallery and then you fill just like I showed you before, shape format, fill, picture, and then upload all your pictures. So then this would be 2 full pages double-sided, so when you fold them together and like staple them or just keep them folded, it's gonna be 8 pages total. And the reason why I said make sure that you fold them in real life and number them, you'll know that this is page 1, this is page 7, and then this is page 2, but this is page, what would it be? 6? This would be page 7. So 2, 7. So 1, 8, 2, 7. See how it is? So if you actually lay it out, it's a lot easier to tell which page is which, so you know that you're putting everything in the correct order. Sorry that this wasn't smoother, but that is frankly what Word is like, so I kind of am just going to keep it so you know that it can be a little bit finicky. A big thing for my templates is like make sure your format pane is open and you can format like, okay, when I copied and pasted something, I lost the way it's supposed to look. I want it to look like this. Click this, see which one's highlighted. Okay, heading 1 centered, and then click the one that you want and you do that. So that's really all it is. It's a lot of kind of like fussing around, but it is possible for sure. And once you just kind of get the basic layout like this, it's pretty smooth rolling from there. So I hope that's helpful. I kind of feel like maybe it wasn't, but yeah. So last but not least, full bleeds. Now, if you're doing full bleeds and you're sending it off to a printer to trim it down so that they go all the way off to the edges, what I would do personally, because printers are different. Every single printer says something different. They want it formatted differently. Some of them insist on formatting it how like in-house, so they do it the way they want it. Whatever. I am a graphic designer by day and I still cannot get the rhythm of what each printer wants. They all want something different. So, rant over. What I would do is I would save it normally. File, page setup, manage custom sizes, do edge to edge or add a new one. Make sure user defined is selected. All of these are zeros. 8.5 by 11, okay? Make sure all of that is set up. Okay. Save as. PDF. Best for printing. Desktop. Okay. Export. Make sure that's there and that's ready to go and everything looks good. Okay. Now, I want you to save a different one. File, save as. Full bleed. Okay, save. This is just your normal Word document. Just in case things get messed up or the printer says, no, I just want the normal file size, whatever, you have both, okay? Then you're going to say File, Page Setup, Manage Custom Sizes, and then you want a different size. And you want it to be 0.25 inches larger than it was. So it's going to be 8.75 and 11.25. Okay, and you want this to be 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay. Okay. See, now it created a little bit of a border, so you're going to have to do the same thing that somebody who needs an A4 does. You just make this slightly bigger, and you make sure that this is centered within that half, so that's half. But keep it right in the middle because they're actually going to be trimming off 1/4 inch. And you just adjust all of this. And you let the printer know that you want it to be full bleed and that you made it 1/4 inch larger on all sides. A little bit bigger. And if they give you crap, I'm sorry. They give me crap too. But most of the time they're pretty good. I mean, most of the time something like this is pretty simple. Every once in a while, printer's like, we need 1/2 inch, and that's kind of a bummer because it's a lot, but it can be done. You just do the same thing, except instead of 8.75 by 11.25, this would be 11.5 and 9 inches, and then you just make it slightly bigger around those edges. So that's what you gotta do to do full bleed, and then you do the same thing, File, Save As, PDF, Export. And if you get info, this should be so then this should be the dimensions that you need. And that's everything. Sorry this was fumbly and it wasn't perfect, but that's how it kind of is with Word and adjusting these things and doing really in-depth stuff. But I think you can see kind of what you'd run into if you want to really edit this. And yeah, I hope that this is everything that you need covered for your template experience, or before you buy a template. I hope that it covers everything that you need. Yeah, I hope. Have a good day. Take care.